And greetings, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. And I am GriffinGamingRPG, and I am here with my illustrious co-hosts and special guest today to talk to you guys about a very exciting subject that we have here. But before I go any further, let me introduce this illustrious group of Star Citizens. I think we'll start off. Let's start off with our very special guest. Mr. Parz7val from Vector 27 and Channel 27 News. Let's give him a shout. What's up there, Parz?
Gentlemen, thank you for having me. This is an honor.
Dude, we're happy.
This is an honor.
No, we're happy to have you, man. We've been talking about this for a little while now, and we finally made it happen. Finally. We've unleashed Parz7val from his jacket and his news table to let his hair down just a little bit, and be the Star Citizen that he truly is.
I got so comfortable I shaved. I got such a nice. I decided to get rid of the beard. I'm starting to like it here.
Oh no, dude, it's great to have you here with us. And real quick, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Channel 27 with Vector 27? Give a quick shout out to them.
Sure. Vector 27's been a community that's been around for quite some time, a few years. I've been with them a little bit over a year. And it's just a really fun, interesting community of friends that are like mature adults, and we just like to kind of play and have fun. And right now we're a little bit of in a little bit of a lull, but that's all right. It's because it happens in every kind of game and in every type of org you run with. So it still kind of rolls, but we're working on it.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, I've been with Vector 27 for a while there. I'm one of the, not a director, that'd be 10th, but I'm right underneath it. And so we work close hand in hand, and we try to promote positive gameplay with a bunch of other players and a bunch of new players wanting to get into the not necessarily the combat focused aspect of the game, but of Star Citizen, but a profitable one, and one that's illustrious and proud, that we can all be proud of. And so we do that. But at the end of the day, we're always ready to defend ourselves if need be. So we look at it that way in the verse. How can we defend ourselves? And so we play with what we're going to be playing with today. So I've been doing that. Star Citizen. I've been a backer since 2015, I think.
Okay.
So 2014, 2015, around there. And I started off with something. I think I started off with not even a fighter, because I just wasn't that into fighting yet. And then only later on did I grow into the fighting classes. But yeah, I just wanted to really kind of just space truck. So that's what got me in here, Star Citizen. I just wanted a nice, easy game to space truck.
That's cool. Awesome. And you guys have got a great bunch of folks there that stream. You've got people.
We do.
Like,
we also run Channel 27 News.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you are lovely. That lovely face of yours is with us, as well as of course 10th, and we do a TV show type of thing as often as we can, because it's an all volunteer channel. So we do it as often as we can, and we can put a show together with quality content, and we provide you kind of the latest and greatest in what's going on, and the latest scuttlebutt within the community of how we can react to the new info and the whatever comes our way from Star Citizen. So we're kind of a news program that wants to promote kind of an open communication between the industry itself, and then as well as the players.
And that's one of the things that makes you guys kind of unique, because back in the day, CIG used to do a program that was like IN News, was Intergalactic News or something that they used to do.
They did.
And so you guys are kind of like the only people that honestly are doing like a newscast format, which is very unique and very different in the verse. So it's very, very cool that you guys have adopted that.
Yeah, that's something that I saw early on too. Whenever I heard that there was an idea that was floating around CIG, I thought that would be so fun. And I know other games do it, like Eve, and I thought that would be such a cool thing to have players interact within the game. But I thought, well, we can't do it right now, so what's another great way we can do it in? And we all kind of put our heads together, and we came out with this. What happens if we make it? We impose ourselves into the world itself of Star Citizen. So whenever we go anywhere live, we try to pull as much real world or recorded volumes of just gigabytes of just of just loaded recordings of just NPCs walking back and forth, and you're just watching the moon rotate. Yeah. And we have hours of footage of that. So we always try to make it look like we're live and in the game and trying to have as much fun with it as possible.
That's great. Well, again, man, welcome. We're really happy to have you on with us today. I'm going to connect the dots here and go to TenthSigma because you guys have relationship beyond just knowing each other. But Tenth say hi, and then Tenth kind of talk about how you ended up connecting with the Vector 27. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was actually a really cool experience. Not to take a lot of time on it, but I was running my own org, Sigma Ventures and Holdings, which was again not a really fighting based or military based org. But more so geared towards revenue generation and entrepreneurship inside of the verse. And gosh, probably at the top of this year, we Vector 27 and Sigma Ventures and Holdings merged to merge our two orgs together. And it was a great fit, and it has been so far due to the fact that, like Parz was saying, the alignments between the orgs and the values that we shared aligned. And so we were able to bring more of the community together inside of this org to, craft our visions for what we want to be and do inside of the verse and help new players facilitate that. It's a vast world. It's a big universe that's constantly growing. And so Vector 20, in fact, one thing Parz didn't say was Vector 27 was one of the original new player orgs for when people would join up and look for people to play with. Vector 27 was one of those orgs. So my org came much later. But that was going to be our lean was entrepreneurship, and so we merged with V27. It's been fantastic since. Parz and I helped run the community along with about 12 other leaders, and it's a really cool experience. And so out of that, like Parz said, we have Channel 27 News, a couple of projects that are on hold right now, just because of life and just the state of the game, but. They go through these transitions, but we're really happy to be part of the community this way.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And last but not least, the professor himself, Kimmy65, is joining us tonight. Kimmy, what's up, brother?
Buddy. Oh, man. It's Sunday night, right? And I want to say to chat, with all of that wealth of information from those two, that is why I watch Channel 27. These guys make it fun. It's insightful. It's knowledge-based. And I'm addicted, and I can't wait for the next episode.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
But Kimmy's a celebrity anyway, so.
Yeah. He's a celebrity in his own.
Yeah, yes, it doesn't. We're honored to sit here next to you, Kimmy, because you're on the videos now, dude. What are you talking about?
I don't have a notepad. I don't have a notepad for anything else for notes. I just want your autograph. That's all I want is your autograph, sir. So when you have a minute, I'd really want to get that graph, sir.
I think Kimmy's gonna have to live with that at least through the end of the year. But we're really proud of him, and we were really excited when we saw that CIG threw him into the one community video, which was awesome.
Hey, Parz is rocking. He's killing that carrot shirt. You guys may not see it, but he is rocking that carrot shirt, man.
Yeah, baby. I only bring it out for special occasions.
Oh wow!
I only bought one, and it was like. It took like 6 months to get, so I'm ones at a time, and it goes right back into its linen bag and
I hear you.
Plastic bag, and it's fine.
Hey, based on the premise of this show, I thought about this. I wanted to hand this to you all, including everyone here at chat. I don't know if it's a joke or not, but here I'm gonna just throw it out there.
Sure.
What did the old Grizzly Aurora said to the brand new Aurora fresh off the manufacturer floor?
This is the first Star Citizen joke I've ever heard, so I can't wait to
Yeah, I
hear
know.
this.
I have no idea.
He might be known for something else now. He might be known for something else. But tell him the first Star Citizen
I
joke.
think I know where he's going with it. I think I know where he's going with it, and it's super funny. First time falling on the floor. I don't know. What's my lame joke?
What is
it? Hey, you may be brand new and all that, but I got guts. But it's the premise of the show, right?
Oh,
Jesus.
God. Oh, God.
I know. I know. Yeah. But it's the premise of the show, right? When we're talking about fighter ships, and it's, just you're gonna get a basic ship, right? And
Gigi is giving you her review.
Oh man, Rotten Tomato, virtual Rotten Tomatoes all in chat.
We'll give it to you, Kimmy.
Oh, you still want that autograph?
Right? What's the first?
This is how he learns, people. This is how he learns.
That's great.
You guys,
well, listen. I put the link in for Vector 27. You guys definitely give them a shout. Check them out. Go like them.
Can't wait for you guys.
When they get back online, it will be well worth the education and the information that they share. Let me send it out one more time. There it is, right there. And hey, let's hop into it. I want to do a quick background check on everybody because, as you guys know, whenever we do this show, we try to bring people on who kind of have some inkling of what it is we're talking about. But this show is kind of a mixed bag. So hopefully what I want to do is kind of get a grade from 1 to, let's say 1 to 5, where you are when it comes to being a fighter into fighter ships. And everybody's not the same here. I can tell you that right off the bat. So why don't we start off with Kimmy? Where would you put yourself from? Let's say 5 means that you are definitely an ace, Mustang kind of, I'm going to go out there and that's all I want to do is combat fight, or a 1 where it's not really your thing, but hey, you recognize it's part of the game.
I'm gonna put a little curve in there. I'm a 3.5.
Okay, no, that's fair.
I'm right there in the middle.
Kimmy.
That's fair.
Yeah, Kimmy.
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
Okay.
Parz, how about you? Where you land?
Under those circumstances, I'm a 0.5. I guess I don't know. No,
no, I know that's not you.
I'd say between like a 2 and a 3. I had 2.
Really, 2 and a 3. Really? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I like fighting. I'm a decent fighter. I by no means do I claim to be a professional, but because there's always a bigger fish. But man.
Okay.
Yeah, I will never say I'm a 5 or a 4.
I got you. Not a Top Gun. That. Okay, that's fair. Tenth, how about you? Where do you land, Tenth?
Man, that's a 1 or a 2, boss. Like I fight to get myself out of a pinch. Right, because I don't want to scratch the paint, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, man, it's hard to buff those laser marks out of that Origin ship, ain't it?
Oh, here we go.
Hours to hire a crew for that.
And you know what, Tenth, we got to treat him good because he's a guest, right? That's the only reason why we got to cut him some slack today, right?
I'm sorry.
We got to cut him some slack because he's a guest.
I forgot.
He's gonna wear that out.
By him now. Oh shit.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say for myself, I'm probably a 2, to be honest with you. Maybe a 2.5, maybe. And again, I see a lot of people putting numbers in chat, which is great. If you are a 4 or a 5, we want to hear from you. Cuddles, I see you out there. Because what we're going to be doing is going through ships, and this is based upon our somewhat limited knowledge on fighter ships. And if you have something to say about the ships that we're picking, then please do put it in chat, because we are not trying to be the authorities. But we do want to talk about the subject, because even though we're not maybe big into it, we recognize how important it is to Star Citizen and this, I guess you could say, the circle of life in this game. So we really, really do want to have your input on this. Let me give you guys the ground rules on this. The ships that we're going to be talking about are in 5 categories. First category is going to be light category. Second is going to be medium fighters. Third is heavy fighters. Fourth is going to be stealth. And then 5th is interdiction. And we picked those categories not because we picked them, but because that's how CIG designates these different ships. Yeah. So understand what we're going to do is take the light fighters. We're going to name them all off. We're going to talk about what we like about them, what we think is cool about them. We're going to want to see what you guys have to say in the chat about them as well. And then we're going to move through them, because as you guys know, there are a lot of fighter ships in Star Citizen. So there's no way for us to talk about each individual one. We will maybe talk about the ones that we personally own or the ones we've personally flown, what we like about them, what we don't like about them. So that's the general ground rules for this, okay? So I'm going to do my best, guys, to sometimes bring up on screen if there's a particular ship we want to get some information on, just let me know. I'll look it up and bring it up. But in the meantime, we're just going to start talking about them. So, very first one. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a sixth category. Please forgive me. And
that's right.
There's only one ship in this category, and it's called Snubs. And according to the RSI website, there's one ship that they consider a snub fighter, and that would be the P-52 Merlin. Real quick, guys, give me your feedback on that particular ship. Do you own one? Flown one? Melted one? Whatever category it may be in.
I've melted a few in my day. I mean, I've flown them several times on several different occasions, and they're solid ships. I mean, I prefer a nice Merlin. For if I know I'm going to be near Porto or something because somebody's being a jokester, a Merlin's a great ship to pull out, in my opinion, and just fart over people. It's guys that are being jerks.
It's a hard ship to track and target for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it for me. My it's a feather, and so you're really just kind of floating in that thing. And it's really hard to hit that moving and small of a target, especially when you have it in the hands of a decent pilot. Yeah. Because I think it's such a small signature for a ship. You do have wiggle room to make some mistakes, and I think that's a fortunate ship in that class. Because it's the only one of its kind.
Let me throw this question at you. Let me throw this at 10th because I got a different one for Kimmy. 10th, when that ship was first marketed, when the Constellation series came out, one of the big pieces on buying the Constellation was because you got the P-52 snub, and it was kind of marketed where if you were under attack, that snub could separate itself and maybe assist in helping defend. Do you think that's practical now? Or do you think that ship is going to be more of when it's tied to the Constellation? I'm only talking about when it's tied to Constellation. Do you think it'll be more of a reconnaissance scout ship, similar to how some people would use the Pisces for the Carrack? What are your feelings about it?
Yeah, when they said that it was going to be a snub fighter for the Constellation, I thought that was a good move. I think that now it's found a little bit more utility, in the sense that it could get you out of a pinch. The fact is, with more multi-squad, multi-group gameplay, that thing's not going to really hold you out for long enough. But it will do a great job on a quick, like you said, Griff, reconnaissance mission, or maybe a quick stop down from you're outside of a space station and you want to jog down to the surface, or whatever, just really quick travel, like you would use a Pisces for in the larger ships like the Carrack. But this deal is it's a small ship. I had one and melted it, I believe. But it's a great ship to have if you have larger ships and maybe want to add a little bit of extra utility to something like a Constellation or a Carrack or something like that. So yeah, good ship.
All right, and Kimmy, I'll throw this one at you about the P-52. I kind of look at that ship now as almost like a mosquito, right? One of them may not be a big deal, but 5 or 6 of them or 7 of them. Ow! I feel good. Nordic America, thank you for the subscription. We appreciate that.
Nordic.
Thank you.
Nordic.
If there were, and I'm saying this in relation to like how they're looking at the talent. Let's just say that there's maybe 8 or 6 or 7 of those ships. Do you think they'll be more effective working as a group if someone decided to some weird way put a bunch of those on a ship? And the other thing I want to ask you about is one of the things that people don't like about this ship, it doesn't have quantum, right? It can only stay within a certain system or range. So first of all, let me ask you the question about the quantum. Do you think that's a negative for that ship? And if it isn't, what's the positive, in the sense that it doesn't have one? What's that ship good for beyond what we just talked about already?
Well, yeah, it's definitely a negative. It doesn't have the quantum, but it's according to just like Star Trek lore, it's your proverbial red shirt. And knowing that it's just as its role is fully fleshed out, it's kind of just to assist or maybe to offset turret attacks, and to help the Constellation get away from trouble when it gets down to it. it's multi-purpose in a way that it's kind of an assist type of ship.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, when you can compile a number of those ships, it's gonna be pesky. It's gonna be a problem. Oh, Colossal 07.
Thanks, Colossal.
Hey,
2-month
Colossal.
subscription. Thank you,
Wow.
man. Appreciate that.
It's going to be a problem because then you're talking about targeting, and then you have to focus on one. But then at the same time, you have this united attack. By default, you're going to have the Connie coming bearing down on you with these missiles and these lasers or whatever weapons you choose, and then you have also the P-52 Merlin assisting as well, maybe just offsetting and causing trouble too. So it's more of a companion in the regards of when you look at its priorities, it's going to be the Connie. Make sure you protect the Connie, and then 07 Parz7val.
Thanks, Parz. Our guest
Just wanted
is
to get it out of the way.
subscribing. Thank you,
Through the
man.
back door.
Thank you, dude. I had to laugh at that
got
one.
back door.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I didn't want to cut you off, but he reminded me. I was like, shit. All right.
All right. No, that's
In
a
its
good point.
value, you know, when and you know what, Parz7val just struck something. He just brought something up. When you look at the P-52 in terms of its speed is its asset. When you compare it with other snub ships or other parasite ships,
It's fast.
I don't want to get off track. Like the Pisces, I would rather be in a P-52 Merlin because the asset of the P-52 is its speed.
That's a good.
It's hard to track on it and take it out. But at the end of the day, the priority is making sure the Connie is secured, and you can also use it to protect the rover when you're doing recon on ground, air to ground surfaces. So
Nice.
it has a lot of value in that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. I want to highlight just a couple things that Ops Chief tossed in. One of them he said was that it would be great as an escape ship, which I guess is true if you're in there by yourself, or if you've got a VIP or somebody who needs to get in and get out because something bad's going to happen until they get escape pods working on the Connies. But then he also said, you know, it's too bad that they don't put a quantum in it, at least to make it work similar to how the Pisces is with the Carrack, that ship would be for the Aquila. Because true enough, with the Aquila doing exploration, that would be kind of a cool idea. So thanks, Ops Chief. That's a really great observation. So that's our only snub ship. Thanks, guys. That was really good information in relation
We
to
do have
that.
to throw in Archimedes.
Nope. Archimedes, believe it or not, is listed. See, that's what I told you.
You don't want to throw that
That's what I
in?
told you. Don't get me wrong. No, Kimmy, you're absolutely right. I would have by default put it in, and then when I went to the website, they do not have it listed.
They don't have it.
It blew my mind that it was not listed
Wow,
as
they
for
changed
that.
it.
Yeah, they changed it. It's got its own different category. So believe me, I was thinking just like you were, brother. And I was like, wow, okay. So that's the only
Nice.
the one that mind you again. This is what CIG puts down. And again, I want to mention this to the chat. There may be ships that you may consider fighters, and for you that's a fighter ship for you. No, we're not arguing that point. We are just trying to go by what CIG says because it would be very difficult for us to name every ship because you could use almost any ship in the game as a fighter depending on almost every ship. So let's move into the light fighter category. Let's toss this. There's several. I'm going to name them, chat, and then if you want to shout out the one that really is the one that digs you, then you let me know which one it is. We've got the Car2All. We've got the Gladius and its variants. We've got that Pirate Gladius. We've got the Mustang Delta. We've got the Talon. Now, interestingly enough, they don't have a designation for the Talon or the Talon Strike on the website right now because they're both brand new. But I know that they said it was a light fighter, and I don't know what they call the Talon because it's that bomber, but I don't know if it's a light fighter bomber. I don't know what the heck it is.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. The Arrow. You guys know about the Arrow.
Love the Arrow.
Another surprising one was the Hawk. The Hawk was put in as a light fighter. Banu Defender. The ever-loving Aurora MR. The one that I know Kimmy can tell you anything about, the Aurora LN. The Reliant Tana, Blade, and the 125A. So yeah, those are the ones that have been considered into the light fighter category. Parz, I'm going to hit you first. If there were a couple of those in there that are the ones that impress you, and a couple of the ones in there that you say, which ones would you grab at?
I'm an exotic guy. Tenth will definitely tell you to that. But the Car2All for me is a gorgeous ship, and I want to see more like them. That one stands out to me the most, and I think it's just a very It looks to me like it's a punching at a lower weight class.
Let me ask you.
Not in terms of the armament, but in how it looks.
Well, let me ask you a truth to be told question to you. Were you digging it before the overhaul? Because after the overhaul, a lot of more people fell in love with it. You know, they strengthened it up a little bit. They gave it a little bit more firepower. Or were you just kind of digging it because of the design in general?
I dug the design. It's the way they did it. It's a beautiful ship, but the way they also did it, which was out of the box, but it gives an aggressive ability that when I look at a ship, especially that ship, I look at broad. To me, what comes to my head is broad shoulders coming towards me, and that's a big. That's oh shit, I don't like that. So it gives me that nerves, and I'd like to think that if I was in a ship like that I would be able to provide that sort of intimidation by not even firing a round.
Okay.
But I'm not even doing a shot first, because I'm a lover before a fighter. I'll fight, but I don't want to do it. So so if you want to do it, I want to be as aggressive looking as possible to intimidate you to stay away from me. And I think having a ship like the Cloud, which unfortunately I don't have, and I regret, but that would be a ship that I would definitely put in my bank.
Raminator, thank you for the follow. Okay, what is there a second one, or one you want to say that you wouldn't be bothered with?
I love the Tana. I think the Tana is a unique looking ship. The flight signature also is different, and I think those unique signatures make for a more challenging fight, especially because the other ships like a Gladius I have, and that's a lot of people in a Gladius, and it's just that common. You know, when you get into your first fighting ships, one of the Gladius reminds you of an A10. So most people look at that, think of an A10 Warthog, and go and buy it. And at least for me, that's the majority of my friends. When we all bought them, we all said, "Oh, it's an A10." But yeah, I mean, you have ships like that. But these exotic-looking ships really capture my heart, because it's a unique. When you get into a fight with that, you know it's going to be a different game. It's going to be a different fight. It's not going to be your normal toe-to-toe. And I like those, especially when if it's in the hands of a good pilot.
Okay. And if there was one fighter in the group that you would toss off the list, which one would you go for? Like,
the Hawk.
No interest in the Hawk, really?
Really? I chuck it. I love the Hawk. I love it. I love the look. I own it. But I would not take that into a fight. I just wouldn't. I have before, and I learned right away. It was just not good.
Not good, huh? Okay. All right, Kimmy, how about you? Which one would you take off the list here that you dig?
You said take off the list?
No, I'm sorry, the one that you like. I'm sorry. Which one's the one you like? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely, Parz, I got to give it to you. The aspect of the Cloud, that was one that was very intriguing to me. And at the same time, I was immediately disenchanted, but then I fell back in line with what the concept is all about. And when you talk about that, you have to look at the concept of the flight model and how that is going to be incorporated into how we fight and use these ships. And so with that said, and the fact that SIG themselves said they're going to realign what they're doing with this particular ship. And so I went back in and upgraded. Actually, I have the Sentak Ya, but it's still based off of the Cloud. And the aspect of that ship, and in regards to PvPing or dogfighting, it's the aspect of the flight model that we've yet to really see or fleshed out yet. We have atmospherics. We get that. We have the ship that performs like a brick, VTOL. We sort of have an inkling of that, the first iteration. But here's the other aspect, the 6 degrees of flight. Some people call it 6 degrees of freedom. When you're talking about, and as you guys like to say, especially 10th, stay on Vector. The Vector can just change on you when you're talking about aspects of strafe, left, right, at a drop of a dime. The Vector is changing just like that. And you're in one of those, like a Gladius, a line of sight type of ship where it's a straight line. If you're being pursued or you get in PvP between a Gladius and a Sentak Ya, I will take your behind up into space, and then I will Vector all over that ass.
God.
And yeah,
I want to see what that looks like.
But but that aspect of that, that concept of PvPing with that type of ship, it's so intriguing. It not only, as Parz said, I agree, it's the aesthetics are out the roof. It is all out of the roof in regards to any. You compare that ship with any alien ship, by far, it's like the best. Beautiful color, everything. But when you're talking about the functionality and being able to say, when you take it into space, zero gravity, and then this thing is able to vector beyond the constraints of how we fly. OM freaking G.
Well, Colossal has given you an acronym, Kimmy, that you better get the copyright on. He said VEOTA. VEOTA. So make sure you split the royalties.
VIOTA.
VIOTA. I'm making this is a new thing over it.
I'm gonna VIOTA all over that A.
Vector's gonna get a new GIF. We're gonna put this in our Discord.
Awesome.
We're taking it.
Colossal, thank you for that. 07.
That's pretty good.
Yes, it's so intriguing, and knowing that the concept is coming down the pipeline, and the fact that Parz mentioned that they beefed up things because it's a scout ship is supposed to go in, check out what's going on, and they need the ability to whatever they encounter, engage, and then come back and report. That's a scout ship.
Okay. Let me ask you, what would be a secondary ship? You looked at the Santakii, which would be your secondary ship that you would look at out of this list?
And so going back to, would it be the Aurora Ellen?
No, that's cool. That's fine.
I got to go back to the basics,
yeah, absolutely.
Man. I got to go back to the basics.
Yeah, go for it.
For the fact that it's just your starter. And just like the old Timex watch, it takes a licking and keeps on ticking. The fact that by default, you're going to get these upgraded shields, upgraded power plants, and you're going to get a nice complement of missiles to go with that as a starter ship.
Yeah.
It takes so much damage. That ship can take a hell of a lot of damage and still be able to say, come at me, bro. Come at me. Yeah. And you still have some missiles to spit out at it.
Yeah. Yeah. For like a workhorse. Because you're speaking because I'm taking like you got the Aurora was your first ship you bought. And so for me, I didn't have that option. So I had to go and back when I had to buy in, it was, you can buy this and then you can buy, ships afterwards. So you can buy the game and you can buy the ships afterwards. Yes. So I had the opportunity to buy them at initial release, where I didn't have to worry about, So when the first ship I bought was a Carrack. It wasn't a Carrack. It was another transport ship. I forgot him. Misk Freelancer. So I had a Misk, and it came with the game. So I didn't really have to worry about that other stuff. I had the game package. So I didn't get a start on the Aurora, which sucked because I would love to have started at that level because I would have done it the hard way. And I feel like I skipped out on that. So I didn't start on the ships, and that kind of sucks. But yeah, if I would say that's too, because if you're comfortable in those light ships because they're starter ships, that is your go-to. Whichever one you are most comfortable in, because that's the one you've used for, your go-to growing up. That's the one you want to choose for those light ships. And only because those are the ones you've played on for hours and hours and hours grinding to get to the medium class of ships.
It's funny, Gladestone here says, man, it's a terrible design, terrible ship. Looks like the guy who designed it was drunk that night and said that it looks cool and we'll use it. Worst ship, right? Now, I will say this, for those of us who've been around any amount of times, we used to call the Aurora series classes the cockroaches, right? I mean, they look pretty funky. Yeah. But I will tell you this, in the early days of Arena Commander, there were plenty of people who would take an Aurora LN and take out Hornets and combat ships.
Super Hornets.
Right, and the cool
thing about
Super
Hornets.
Well, I'm just saying Hornets, Super Hornets. But this is what was cool.
Super Hornets.
But this is what was cool. But this is what was cool about
saw those, yeah.
This validated Chris Roberts' statement when he said that it's not about the ships, it's about the pilots that are flying them. And that's a good thing, because there are people who will discount or look over other ships that may cost $40 or $50 and think because they paid $250 for something that maybe it's going to give them some great advantage. So
can't buy a win.
But again, I think to Kimmy's point, this is a great starter ship. If you are looking to get into the fighter thing, And there's some other ones that are on the list that we can talk about that are great entry level for starter ships, or they serve a certain purpose within the game. So we want to keep that in mind. 10th, let me jump to you real quick because we got a big list here. What's your go-to out of this list of light fighters, and then what would be your second? Oh, I'm sorry, Kimmy, I forgot to ask you. Which one of these ships is the one you would throw in the garbage can? The one you really wouldn't want to fly for fire?
Let's pull that Tana out and just chuck it. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's cute though.
Let's go ahead and pull it and chuck it.
So cool.
Pull and chuck.
But chuck it. I would too.
He says it looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool.
Like,
and you look cool dying too. That's about it. You're gonna look cool dying.
You're right.
You go down in style.
So bad.
Go down in style. Okay. All right. Thanks, Kimmy.
I know. Tim was like, no. When I said that earlier, he was telling me, what is this guy thinking? We're starting off with this guy.
Oh man!
All right, 10th. What are you going for?
I think
primary and secondary.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick one of these ships, man, you might think I'd say the 125. But honestly, I flew the Arrow before I flew the 125, and that is a great ship. Now I know a lot of people say like, and I haven't kept up with the development of the Arrow, but when I think I had one, I think I melted it for something else. But that thing was zippy, and it was during the time where a lot of people used it to joust, and that was how I began to understand the pros and cons of fighting. Understanding, jousting is not going to get you a lot of places, but if you know how to pilot hit and run, or kind of a mosquito or a nuisance, or be a gnat in fighting, with the Arrow specifically, you could do some damage, just because you're harassing your enemy all the time. This isn't one of those ships. I think with all your light fighters, these aren't ships that are going to stand toe-to-toe with anybody. They're just going to be in a fleet to get something done, or pave the way for your heavier hitters, or be a distraction, or just general harassment, right? Yeah. So I like the Arrow, and then I of course would go for the 125. It's a sleek design. It's
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Griff.
No. You go ahead.
Yeah. So the 125 is, if I had to pick, you could enter at a 125, but I subbed in 2014 where the 300 series was the entry level. Right. Yeah. So it was, that's where I started to learn a little bit about how to fly that kind of ship. Right. And that's considered an interdictor at this point. I don't know if it's changed over the years, but it's firmly in the 325A is.
Oh, 325.
And I think the 325. Yeah. So the 125 here that we're looking at is a fantastic entry level that gets you kind of started on that light fighting. But so yeah, I would actually go for the Arrow and the 125 with keeping my eye on anything in the 300 line. If you had to, wanted to move up to get a little bit more beefy in how you fight, or a little bit more firepower and maybe some shield. If I had to throw something off of this list, I would probably throw the Delta out. I'm just not it's only because I'm not a fan of Consolidated Outer Lands or CNOU. But I'm throwing it out recognizing that the Delta's a good a capable fighter, right? And I would, but for me, I would much rather take the Arrow over the Delta, just in terms of my playstyle. It's about the pilot. And I need to just zip around and try to maneuver myself around to at least find the exit from it, right?
Yeah.
But here's the one thing. Let me just say this. Honorable mention, right? Mm-hmm. Before we move to the next category. Mm-hmm. Honorable mention, the Talons. Mm. Look, when Parz brought up a good point earlier that was saying if you see, when you the feeling that you get when a ship approaches you kind of determines how you might fight. The Talon, the Shrike by itself might not invoke that kind of fear, but if you look at that picture that they have for the Talon, and you see like 6 of these
A bunch of
things
them.
like diving in on you, that's scary, man. That's scary. So yeah, oh yeah, you know.
That's the only reason I did not choose it, is because I haven't flown it yet, and because I'm I'm an Asperia, I'm a huge.
That's your deal, dude.
That's my thing, but yeah, I haven't flown it, but that is going to be a remarkable ship, especially the strike variant with the extra missiles. I think it's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty nasty. In a nice air wing. It's going to be pretty sweet to have, for sure. Especially to see a wing like that coming towards you would be a pretty cool sight to see, for sure. Jumping out of a QT and popping right on top of you over a moon or a planet or something. Yeah, that's going to be a crazy cool sight to see. Yeah. That's going to be some cool camera footage. I hope Channel 27's there to get it live.
All right. Well, I'm going to go for the Gladius. It was actually the very first fighter, like serious fighter, that I flew.
Yeah.
People used to always talk about it being a glass cannon and very vulnerable, but it's also very deadly. Because it is quick. It takes a little bit to get used to it because it is very nimble. It's not like the Arrow, which for me the Arrow is kind of more, it's sharp, it's more on the dime when it comes to moving, where the Gladius, because it has a little extra weight, there's a lot more drifting. But I hate to say it, but when I first used to try to learn how to fight, it was easy to get away from people in this thing. It was just really easy not to get targeted. But there's another reason why I want to encourage people about this ship, is because this is the ship, as many of you know, that you'll be flying in Squadron 42. Yes. So while they've given them to you free right now, if you've never flown in one, just get in one and just get a little familiar with it at the very least, because it is going to be the ship that we will be playing when we get into Squadron 42. Yeah. That's going to be my primary that I'm going to go for as far as light fighters. When it goes to the next one's going to be a real interesting one. I don't own one, but I've flown it several times. And it's this one here, the Banu Defender. Now I've got to put a disclaimer on this. We have not seen all the tech on this, and we haven't seen what happens when there are two people operating it the way it should be operated. But
where's the bathroom?
Yeah, don't start. Okay. But bring your Gatorade bottle, you'll be all right. So if the ship does do what it's supposed to do, where you have a secondary pilot who's assisting you with other operations and shields and things like that, I think it will be an interesting ship. And many of you guys know, because the what do they call the lasers on here? I forget. There's a certain term for the lasers on this ship. Guys, forgive me for having a brain fart.
No, I had it up.
But the particular lasers that are on this ship, they go out a very good distance. They're more like medium range, and people get targeted by this thing and have a real problem with it. So I'm just kind of curious.
Tachyon.
Thank you.
Tachyons.
The Tachyons, yes. Very unique to these ships. The Banu technology is also going to be very interesting to see what we can do with these ships later on. So that's my ship. If I had to toss one out, I hate to say it, but the Aurora MR. That one is just it's the base, it's the base. It's the base ship.
Not the LN.
Yeah, it's the base ship, and I mean, yeah, it's a great ship to shuttle back and forth in, but would you really take it to a fight? Yeah, you probably wouldn't. So I'd have to let that one go. The Singe, yeah, thank you, Flaw.
Hey, Griff.
Yeah, buddy.
As a special note, the Banu Defender, when we're talking about later on, John Crew mentioned that once we get whenever that is, hopefully soon, the Banu Merchantman, it's supposed to do some sort of Mighty Morphin Power Ranger type of transformation with the Banu Defender. So keep that in. Oh yeah, keep that in tune.
Can't wait to go power, see what happens.
Yes.
There's some weird symbiotic relationship, that's supposed to exist between the Defender and the Merchantman. So you're right, Kimmy. That is something to look forward to. But again,
you did, Griff, and if you don't mind for a sec, you touched base going back to it's going back to the snub because it popped back into my head again, the Merlin again, and how we were talking about briefly kind of a cannon, like kind of a cannon fodder, and it really, when used correctly, it's a great idea. Because you can lose less money, less currency flying a snub craft if you know you're going to be engaging a target in a defensive posture. It's really cool to use in a defensive way. And it helps you utilize your bigger assets for bigger projects that are going to be more more beneficial and advantageous for you to take in the battlefield. So by being able to utilize 6 or 7 to go tackle, a pain in the ass of a fighter pilot who's bugging, say a freighter, or who's bugging a bomber, then it's great to have a quick reaction force that'll zip by, push it away to keep the big mission back where it needs to go, and to continue on with the fight. And have these little guys, they might get shreked along the way and just get completely obliterated, but it buys time for that main force to continue that battle. And when we get into like the large battles that hopefully we'll see that are Eve level, then those are going to be really, really, really game changers on the battlefield, I think.
Definitely. By the way, in case I missed it, Nordic American, thank you for the subscription. If I missed you, Raminator, thank you for the follow again. And DK Baseman, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Okay, that's all good stuff. Let's go ahead and change gears, pardon the expression. Let's move to the medium fighters. Here's the list on mediums, folks. And again, let me throw the piece in here. This is who CIG says is medium, not what we say is medium, so we're just going with their list. We can go down the whole Hornet series of ships, the F-7C Hornet, the F-7C Wildfire, the F-7C M Super Hornet Heat. He was a Heartseeker. Let me get it right. The F-7CS Hornet Ghost, the F-7CM Hornet Super Hornet. I'm sorry. By the way, notice that the tracker is not on here because they do not consider it as being a medium fighter. Just so you guys will know, I didn't miss it. They didn't consider it. We've also got the Scythe. We have the F-7A Hornet. We have the Cutlass Black, and we have the Glaive. So you all can chime in which one of those medium fighters, those of you in chat, if you want to let us know which one you like. Any of the F7 series. The Santaki Eye is in there. Let's see, what else do we have in here? The Scythe, the Cutlass Black, and the Glaive. Let's do it in reverse this time. Kimmy, why don't you tell me? I'm sorry, you were last. Tell me which one of these is the one you prefer, first, second, and then toss out.
Yeah, man, this is a tough one. This is where you have a lot of heavy hitters in this thing. And I think I'm just going to take this off the list just to do everybody a favor. But you got to do the Cutlass Black. I'm just going to take that off the list. First draft pick, medium series. You have to do it. It's worth, like, I talk all the time about it being a workhorse, and it definitely is. Not only for the utility that it has, but for how you can upgrade it and the weapons you could put on it, the turret, the gunners, the gunner up top, and it's gonna, and then I think we can't forget too. I think Kimmy, you brought up maybe a couple weeks ago about the tractor beams are going to be eventually coming onto the ship as well. So regardless of all that utility, you still have a significant amount of firepower with the Cutlass Black, and I think for me. My Cutlass, I think my Cutlass Black is in buybacks right now, but this is the ship that we were talking earlier. This is the ship you're trying to work your way into. Like, once you get past your light fighter, your light ships, you're making a play in this medium category, and the Cutlass Black always surfaces at the top, or the top 3, for whatever kind of work you're going to be doing in the verse. So first, for this particular instance, fighting, I gotta give it to the Cutlass Black. And the second thing that I will take, that I'm actually not sure if it's flyable yet. Actually, is the Glaive. Now, I don't typically do alien ships or like the exotic kind, but this Glaive and the redo that's coming up, or if I'm not sure if it's actually been has happened yet, but this thing is menacing, man. Like, this Glaive is serious business by Asperia, and I'm impressed with how it looks. It's very I can't find the word for it. It's not necessarily rugged, but it's very crude, right? Like, the design choices, like this thing will like snap your head off in like a minute. No questions asked. And so I dig this ship. I dig the Cutlass Black. If I had to choose something to throw out, it would be one of the F7s, just because there's a ton of variability with it. Like
Okay.
I don't,
There's so many.
I don't. There's a lot of them. Would you miss it? Would you miss it? Right? Like what would you really miss out of if you just picked a Hornet type or F7 type and threw it away? So. Anyways, that's my pick on the medium category. There's a lot of great ships in this channel though, for sure.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you? What are your first and secondaries on this one?
Okay. Can you run those ships again?
Sure.
Just real quick.
The F's, all of the F7 series. So you've got the Hornet, the Wildfire, you've got the Super Hornet Heartseeker, you've got the Ghost, and you've got the Super Hornet. That's all the F7C series. Then you've got F7A Hornet. Then you've got the Santak, which I know was one of the ones you favored, the Scythe, the Cutlass Black, and the Glaive.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with 10th with that particular ship, which is the Cutty Black, and the rework that they did.
Okay.
And it hails back to the Cobra, the Cobra Huey back in the days of Vietnam, where they had the two pilot helicopter, where you had the co-pilot involved in the combat as well. With that said, this thing, when we're talking about combat, and you're saying it's not a thing of, well, hey man, you're gonna missile. What's that concept? What is that statement called? Missile nerf me or whatever. Hey, this is combat, man. You have a person that's just trying to go to point A to point B to take care of their bottom line, and then you're gonna pick a fight, and then all of a sudden you're gonna complain, oh, you missile nerf me. You're no good. With that said, the Cutty Black.
Citizen.
Yes. The Cutty Black will push you back.
Yeah, I like
Missile
that.
rack
I like
is true to the attack.
Back, put another one tonight. Come back and push you back. Fuck, he's creating all these acronyms, all this shit tonight, man. He's solid.
Oh my God.
Gold.
But you know what? To this point, and to Tim's point too about the Cutty Black, I've seen several videos where people have tricked this ship out, and they basically tell you, if you trick this thing out, it is a serious fighter. I've never gone to that level on it, but you keep hearing that over and over again. So even though Drake has the reputation of ships that are moderately built, they're not necessarily out of the best materials, whatever.
Yes.
If you notice, many of the stops that you get, the traffic stops that you get, are in Drake ships sometimes. So with the cops, so we'll have to see how Drake continues to pan out as we get further with balancing and everything else, but. This ship, beyond it being that multi-purpose, like Kimmy said, it's got all these different things you can do with it. Yeah. But evidently, it is a capable fighter. Kimmy, what's your secondary? What's your second one you picked?
That would be the Super Hornet. I mean, in the instance of that turret that sits on the top, and I remember back in the day of Arena Commander, that was the go-to. When the Super Hornet hit the scene, it was just everyone was just nerfing everybody with the Super Hornets, and it was just dominant in that Arena Commander PvP gameplay arena, and you were like, oh God, okay, I gotta up my game, so I gotta get a Super Hornet. But yeah, you're gonna think twice about if it's a one-on-one battle. You're gonna look at the Super Hornet. You're gonna make a business decision for sure. So that would be the second one when you're talking about that level of PvP, and it can bear on you that type of heavy firepower.
Okay. And which one would you toss out of everything that we listed there?
I'm not contradicting myself, but it would definitely probably be the Santak. Give credit because of the fact that it's not there yet. The concept is there, but I think once they get it in, that will be reevaluated. But knowing what SIG has done with the Cartual, they know that they got to step their game up with the Santak. Yeah, they got to step it up. But until then, I'm like, those are my two.
That's a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Parz, on you. Primary and
I'll be quick. I'm sorry, I'll be quick. Only because I don't own any ship in this class, and this is actually the my least flown class.
Okay.
I fly very little medium ships, very little medium ships. When it comes to what at least what SC considers medium. Right. So I in that category, I own no ships. If I were to choose one, I would absolutely say the Cutty Black is a very great prime choice. That's the utilitarian ship that can kind of do it all right now. And if you're coming into a game, I'd highly recommend anybody. Your next ship after an Aurora MR apparently is going to be a Cuddy Black. But the Santok, yeah, I love the look. I love the concept and the idea. What Kimmy said. I think it's, I mean, those can be really special ships. But until I get my hands on flying that, I've flown the Parz7val, but the Santok, I really can't wait to fly, and I know that's going to be a joy.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it, man. I really have no one. If I were to throw one on the chopping block, one of the F7s, any of them. Yeah. They're great ships, but any of them, because there's so many. Maybe the Ghost, because why?
All right, fair enough. For me, it's funny, and I want to go back to something Kimmy was saying about the Super Hornet. I've never been one for the Hornet. People were crazy about the F7s. Even when I gave them to her for free, I would never fly them. But I will say this: when you get in a Super Hornet, you honestly feel like you're like gunned and weapon to the teeth. It really does feel like, whatever you run into, even if you don't know how to work the stuff in it, just push a button and you'll probably kill whatever it is you run into. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely out of that series of ships. I am very curious to see what what later on with the Ghost is like. We still haven't really seen, that really implemented. I know that the Heartseeker has got modifications to it, but everybody seems to always swear by the Super Hornet. So, but it's not my ship. I would say that I would go with, I hate to say that, I'm not going to say I hate. The Cutlass Black is definitely it for me. The cool thing about the Cutlass Black for folks is when you're moving from a ship like the Arrow, or if you're moving from the Gladius, it is literally $5 or $10 difference. You go from light fighter to medium fighter. It's a great value in the sense of what you're getting. But the one step that the Cutlass Black has, and I got to go back to the multifunctionality of it, it is great as a fighter. It is great as a transport for moving several people. It works like a carrier where you can have guys working side doors, shooting from the side doors, plus the turret, plus the gunner in the front. I mean, there's a lot of functionality to it, and you can move cargo in it. It's got a small footprint. It's not really that big of a ship. So I do like it from that perspective. My secondary ship, even though I don't own one, and I've stayed away from owning any exotics Parz, because once I go down that rabbit hole, it's over with.
You're done, bro. You're done. I made the biggest mistake ever.
I'm not doing it, because if you get one, you got to get the other. And so,
yeah.
But I'll say this: that Glaive, if you've ever flown it, I think that thing has size 5s on it. It is a monster.
I've flown the Glaive. It's a beef. It is a beefy ship. So, I can't get over the cockpit, but it is a beefy ship.
Yeah, the whole Van Duel thing. I mean, I love that theme behind it, and I hate to say it. I was Morphologist put out a great video just recently, I think like yesterday or today, that talks about the different types of things that are in game and available. But he talks about there are some people in the game who are just collectors. They may never fly the ships, like the guy he says, like people who buy Ferraris and never drive them. If I go down that exotic road, that's what's going to end up happening. You know what I mean? And so I'm I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But those would be my two. And if I were to toss out something, the Scythe is something that needs love. And I want to say this about those exotics based on what Kimmy said earlier. Beyond them being exotic, the fact that CIG is actually putting some type of unique functionality to these ships, that 6 degrees of freedom that Kimmy talked about, once you master that in these ships, it's going to be way more than the fact that these ships just look cool. It's going to give you a different type of gameplay and advantage over other players. And the same thing with these Van Duel ships. These Van Duel ships that are designed with these hard edge blades that when they hit your ship, they slice you in half. If you start learning how to do that, that is going to mean something in the game beyond just the fact that they look aesthetically cool. So,
wing clip.
Right now, I think the Scythe needs that help, but I get the purpose of what's supposed to be there. But I'd have to say I'd probably toss out that F7C Hornet just because it's at the bottom of it's their base Hornet, and there are other ones that are better. So I'm going to jump there. Okay, we're going to move to the next category. Now we're going to start getting to the heavy hitters here, gang. Heavy fighters. Smaller category. We don't have as many to look at, but we've got, and I was surprised to see what these were listed, but when you think about their firepower, it makes sense. The Hurricane, the Ares Inferno, the Ares Ion, the Vanguard Warden. I'm going to leave that last one off, guys, because that actually goes into the stealth category, just so you'll know why I'm not reading it, okay? So Hurricane, Ares Inferno, Ares Ion, Vanguard Warden. Let's hit it in reverse again. Parz, we'll start with you on this one.
For me, Warden, that's my go-to. That was my next step up. When I got it, it was the literal bad boy. So I mean, there was nothing at the time when I bought it that would go toe to toe and survive. So the Warden, I still stand by, and it's the one I've just flown the longest when it comes to my my fighters, and it's because it's the one I've always practiced with and became a proficient fighter with. So
how did you feel about the rework on it once you got the new version of it?
I love the improvements. I think I love that CIG was able to listen and take that feedback and criticism, and they ran in the positive direction. And that's what I love about a company that actually listens. And so the Warden now, even though people have their complaints and some people, it may not be their top dog anymore. For me, it's kind of like how Kemi was. Like he that's his Aurora. That's his baby. For me, it was the Warden. Now, I'm not a master gunner with it like say Kemi's with his Aurora, but yeah, that's the one I feel most comfortable in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's your secondary?
Ion, only because I want one, and I just I'm waiting patiently for it, and it looks too good to be true.
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Not the Ion, the Inferno. I have the Inferno.
Inferno. Okay.
I chose the Inferno.
And yeah, those are those size 7s on that? What do you remember what the size is on those?
Let me look.
I forgot. Who makes that thing anyway? I've forgotten. Who makes the Inferno?
It's Crusader Industries, and that's the size. Yeah, size 7, man.
I have the Inferno. Yeah, it's the size 7s.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's a beast.
My upgrade, yeah. So yeah, it's a sweet ship, and I want to see how that cannon will do for short round bursts on smaller targets.
You know, it's
really I want to know. I want to see how powerful that gun will be.
You know, it's interesting because these ships, both the Ion and the Inferno, right? They both emphasize that gun is important to those ships, and I really have to think that they're going to have some type of special cooling that allows them to maximize that use, where normal fighters, you do run into that issue with coolers and everything else. These are big guns, size 7s, and I can't imagine the heat generation that's going to come off of them. So it'll be really interesting, as you said, to see, that, it looks kind of crazy. It's got a beautiful design, right? But you just figured, man, that one gun, but a size 7 gun, we haven't seen anything getting hit with a size 7.
Well, what got me the most is that completely changed the dynamic of the ship lineup for me, because to me the tank buster was the Gladius, even though on paper it wasn't. To me, when I look at it, that appears to be my Warthog. The Gladius appears to be my Warthog. But now the Inferno became my A10 Warthog. It became my tank buster.
Okay.
Because whenever they did the unveiling, they talked about the weapons they wanted to use, and they built a ship around the weapon that they were wanting to put into the game. And that is the exact same thing that Northrop Grumman did when they made the Warthog. They built a plane specifically around that weapon, and because they did that, they were able to get a lot more out of it, and that's why it survived as a Warthog. The A10 survived for so long, and it's because it's a workhorse, and they knew the advantages and disadvantages of having a big, powerful cannon like that.
And it's a big ship. I don't know if you guys can see on the image there.
Yeah, it's a big
one. Right below
the
cockpit, you can see the pilot standing right beneath it, and that thing is big. It is not small. So it's a heavy fighter. It's big. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, go ahead, Kimmy.
You guys made this conversation so compelling. I got to chime in on this. The fact that we are now entering the phase of Star Citizen where we're seeing a lowering of the armistice system now. And so, with the advent of the Crusader coming onto the forefront, that's what we're going to start seeing, this particular ship, because the manufacturer is right there in Orison. Man, it's going to be some funny video with people coming in, starting stuff, acting up, and then all of a sudden you get hailed by these NPC Crusader Ares ships, and you're going to see ballistics all over the damn place. It's like We told you not to act up.
Is this whole universe celebrating the 4th of July at the
That's
same
funny.
time? Because shit is everywhere.
All colors. You're gonna see the rainbow colors.
Everybody's around,
July.
just everywhere.
Schemera, thank you so much for the
Yes.
2-month sub. We really appreciate
Yo.
that. And Pure Falcon,
I
thank you
definitely
for the
expect
follow. Thank you.
Oh, seven, chat.
Let me throw something
Thanks.
at you guys. And man, you just messed my head up, Kimmy, when you said that. We've been predicting what are we going to see between now and 4.0, right? You know, like what are the things that CIG could possibly do?
Yeah, big boxing.
And, you know, I didn't give any thought. I've been putting these predictions about ships that could possibly come out for either IAE or end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
This ship has been on the table for a while. Do you think
High
there's
priority.
a possibility that we could see either of these ships get dropped in flight ready mode? Or do you think they're just too far away? Because, you know, CIG tells us about a lot of stuff, but then there's some stuff which they've done, they just drop it. Do you think these are far way away, this particular ship, the Ion and the Inferno? Or do you think, who knows? Because this got introduced, like a year and a half ago, roughly?
Yes. And you need to feel that. You need to feel Orson in, right? You need the Hercules. You need the Crusader to add to the aspect of that lore of what Orson is all about. And the fact that they're lowering down that armistice zone now, and it's like, okay, are they just going to put towers or gunnery stations like the size 10 out there, or are they going to really start incorporating NPCs now that they're getting these pathfinding ways of the NPCs? So, you know, that's a great segue for them to start testing those pathways for NPCs, especially with Orson, and say, oh, you want to act up? We got you on Vector. Okay. Fireworks. Okay. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Flawed says no chance on them. All right, Flawed. We'll take that. No, and it's a reasonable point. But I do like Kimmy's idea though that once Orison comes online, there may be a valid reason for having Crusader ships now patrolling that area. So I like his idea.
I think we'll see a priority of those.
I think it's a great possibility, but it may not be until Orison. We know that's not like going to happen next month. So we don't want to worry about that. Okay. Let's see. Was somebody going to throw out a ship? Did you throw out your ship yet? Who was next? I forgot. I lost track of who was talking.
10th can go.
Was it 10th was next?
Yeah. What's my ship? Warden, hands down. The again, I'm similar to Parz. I moved when I started my org and then started playing with Vector 27 as well. The Warden for me was one of those ships that was like, hey, we're all spinning up, and we're gonna go do X thing. You know, so you're trying to get into something that's gonna be is going to help out a lot, and the Warden is great for that, and I know a lot of people have since moved away from the Warden and have their gripes about the Warden, but the Warden for me is always going to be that ship when the crew spins up and they're about to go do something. This will probably be the ship that I jump in if it's needed, that we're going to go fight. And this is the ship I'm going to bring, right? Typically V27 is, we're riding around in other types of ships and doing other kinds of missions. But if it's a fighting mission, I know this is going to come out. With that said, I have both the Inferno and the Ion, and I'm, again, looking forward to how they both fly and feel. I think someone mentioned in chat how they might be a little bit more bulky to compensate for the tremendous amount of firepower that they have, right? So it just kind of depends. So with that said, honestly, Griff, I don't know if I would throw out any ship in this category. I know my wife loves the Hurricane, and she likes to pilot. She likes to get in the gunner seat with that one. And that's a deadly ship too in the hands of a great pilot, gunner. Right? Yeah, for sure. Like it's a really great ship, and it looks cool too. So all these ships in the heavy category, like I would honestly say that we could do with more that are flyable right now, right? That are straight up heavyweights, toe to toe. Like we can, and I know there's stuff coming out about RSI's new entry, the Odin, and what that might look like as a gunship or whatnot. But the more heavy ships you might have, the better you might stretch the floor a little bit on what the options could be. I know that what would I love to see? Actually, I don't know. I don't know. I maybe I'll throw it out to you guys as a manufacturer that RSI is coming up. But what would be another manufacturer that you guys would say could add a heavy hitter to their line?
RSI needs some love.
Yeah, RSI
RSI
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
RSI definitely needs the love. I totally agree. If you're gonna put one, if anybody needs a heavy, it's RSI right now.
I'd put them even above MISC putting something in.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, MISC has its. That's a space trucking is a certain. I mean, there's a reason the MISC isn't on that list.
Yeah.
And I think it's. And I like, and I really do. When you sent this to me earlier, I really appreciated the fact that it wasn't on there. Even though they have variants themselves, I really appreciate the fact that it wasn't on there.
Okay, cool. Kimmy. Let me say this about the Hurricane too. I think the Hurricane needs a little bit more for people to go back and look at it, because if you remember, most people didn't mess with it because turrets were so jacked up. And since they fixed turrets, people who've jumped in it swear that it is the coolest thing and the deadliest, one of the deadliest things out there. So for those of us who retired the Hurricane because you couldn't do anything with the turret, the word now is it's definitely worth a second look and taking a look at it. So, Kimmy, what about you in that heavy class? What are you looking at?
I'm having an OMG moment here. Alignment of stars, moons, and everything. It's a total eclipse right here. It's a consensus, right? You guys are brilliant, man. Yeah, and it has to be the Warden. It has to be the Ares series. Heralding back to when the Wardens were a concept, and not going through all the details, but essentially what RSI said in regards to the Warden, it was to go. This single ship went. It's legendary. This single ship went into Vandal space, handled its business, and because of the fact that it was so tough, so versatile, it came back with one engine, but it handled its business in Vandal space as a solo ship.
Yep.
And they stuck to the narrative. They stuck to that concept of what the Warden is all about. So I would say if you are a pure PvPer and you're just walking in the door and saying, okay, I know this is my career. I know I want to do this, but I need that time to build up my skill set. The Warden is the choice ship in regards to taking that damage, taking the punishment, but delving out so much more. So number one, clearly. Now, when you're talking about the Ares, as long as you can stay, you keep that target pinpointed and you keep
far away.
You keep them. Yeah, you keep your target on that ship, and you start punching, and a few shots here or there, you're going to do considerable damage. And so, yeah, that's my 1 and 2. But honorable mention to the Hurricane. As Griff said, the turrets were a little borked, but now that we've got turret gameplay mechanics dialed in a little more, that's something to consider. Even though when you compare them with that 1 and 2 of the Warden and the Ares, it's a glass tiger. But yeah, it will punch you though, and you can incorporate one other player in that ship. But yeah, by far, Warden and Ares. Honorable mention to the Hurricane.
Nice. Very, very cool. Okay, we're moving into our 5th category out of 6, guys. We're getting there. This category is unique because there's only one ship that fits into this category. It just one has a different layout than the other one.
You have no choice.
And that is the Saber and the Saber Comet. As you guys know, one has a different skin and it's a different loadout. But the Saber, and I guess what I want to ask everybody, I'll start with Kimmy this time, since he just went last, and just give me your yay or nay. Are you into the Comet or no?
I think the Comet was just, I think it was labeling. I mean, when we were talking about the Sabers, I go back to what the concept was. I'm looking at them as a whole, right? I may be going off track here, but looking at the Sabers as a whole, Chris mentioned that to what the Hornet was, the Saber is the ninja of the ships, and so it handles really well. And I think it's one of its advantages of how it handles. But it's kind of a pass for me.
You prefer the Hornet?
I get the concept.
The Hornet over it? You prefer the Hornet over it?
Yeah, other than the Raven,
okay.
It uses a defensive mechanism to be a part of its advantage, where it has the electromagnetic pulse to kind of dampen or
but I'm not counting the Raven yet, though.
Or electronics for a couple of minutes.
But hold the Raven thought, because that's in our next category. Okay. Just stick with either the Comet or the Saber. Yep, I got you though. So, but you still kind of prefer if it's a fighter, you would take your Hornet over a Saber.
Yes, I would have to take the Hornet, because you're talking about, if we're talking walking in the door and saying I want to do PvP, the Hornet is going to have more I would say more bulk to it, a little more invulnerability as far as taking damage.
Okay, fair enough. Parz, how about you? Saber, yay or nay? Or
it's a unique class of ship, and I think it definitely has its place on the battlefield. Saber has, the Comet has its place, and so does the Saber, and I think that when it comes to looking at it as a ship that it's supposed to be, for me, when I look at it, it's a first strike ship. That's an offensive ship only, because the only really advantage you have is your stealth ability, and so you're the only really play you can get with that is with a first strike or an ambush type advantage. And it can serve beautifully, but the big problem is whenever you start moving from just the regular Saber to a stealth down to the Saber Comet. And the Comet in its current configuration is far below its standard. It's just really substandard in my opinion. And the reason is the shotgun ballistics are not even close to what it should be. And if you want to be stealth, you're going to have to be much closer, and you'll already be able to visibly see your target, be able to visibly see the Saber before you can be hit by the rounds. So it totally, in my opinion, there's pointless at that point to have shotgun rounds, because the dude can already see me. Why did I have stealth at all if I have to get that close? So if you reconfigure it to keep your distance and maintain a quick strike in and out, it's a great ship for initial strike package, but you're gonna need to bring in other ships to reinforce it to keep the battle going. But it's not a sustained fighter, and they don't BS you when it comes to it. You know it when you fly it. It's not a sustained fighter. It won't last long in a fight. But if you jump on a guy first, it can be advantageous. It really can be. But you have to know what you're doing.
Okay, Envoy, thank you. I did not. I was either typing too quickly, and I should have put the Hornet Ghost in this category. So
the Ghost.
Let's move that into this category. And Kimmy, I'm going to kind of still shift a little bit back to you. Now that the Hornet Ghost is in there, would you prefer a Hornet when it comes to stealth capability? I know that, and here's the key, and please remember this waiver chat, stealth is not in the game, technically. So be aware that the full aspect of what stealth is, we're just taking a stab at what we think stealth will be about. Kimmy, would you prefer the mechanics of the way the Hornet flies and have stealth, or would you want to have the Saber the way it flies? And I feel like you're going to say Hornet just because, obviously, no, I mean it makes sense because it's just basically a Hornet but with stealth capability, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of catch-22, because when we talk about PvP in that aspect, then you would shift to Hornet. But then you're talking about the stealth aspect, the footprint of those capabilities. Supposedly, the Saber is supposed to have more, better stealth capabilities because it's because of its profile. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a catch-22 when you're talking about, okay, you use stealth to gain that advantage to then start the PvP process. Mm-hmm. That's Boy 757. Thanks for
That's Boy. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, purely coming from PvP, I would go with the Hornet.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Okay. Sigma 10th. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me Parz.
Yeah.
Let me get Parz first. Parz, would you go with the Hornet? Yeah, would you go with the Hornet or the Saber?
I wouldn't necessarily change. They're both first strikers, and the Hornet might last a little. It will last a little bit longer in the fight,
Okay.
So you know what? In that case, I might switch. I mean, they're both going to accomplish their goal. So, but under the circumstances, I would think that Hornet would probably survive
Okay.
longer.
Yep.
Cool. 10th, how about you?
We're talking about stealth. I'm not sure. I stayed away from the sabers, primarily because I'm not a stealth fighter. If I have to fight, I'm just gonna fight. I'm gonna find myself in a situation where it's just let's go at this. I'm gonna just veer off of the fighter route and just mention that if I had to take a stealth anything, it would probably be an Eclipse. Even though it's not we're talking about fighters tonight. But if to me it's more like if you have to engage in a stealth manner,
You're gonna go that route.
this is how I'm reading that, right? Like if you have to do that, what type of fighter would you take? Well, certainly for your very capable pilots, they could do anything. I think most people might want to choose a ghost over a saber, or wherever the community falls. They have a ship that they're going to go to do stealth, and it's a small segment of the community what's really cool about this is your pilots that will become stealth pilots are going to get paid so much money, right? Because when you are really good at that, or you have a paramilitary group or an org that's good at hitting and then receding into the darkness, you're never going to know, right? You're never going to know how to engage with these guys and what kind of things they employ. And I think that includes FPS as well. But taking what's on the list right now, I'd probably pass on both of those for something that's more, toe-to-toe, I should say.
Gotcha. I would say this about these ships, and I can't wait until we see a stealth mechanic come in, because imagine having this type of ship, either a ghost or a saber, escorting your prowler in when you're going in to do a night mission. We haven't seen what these stealth capabilities will be, but
giving it away, man. God darn it.
But it will be so cool to know that there are ships capable of, in some way or other, using that technology as well as night flying to get in and get out. So I think that'll be really great. For me, hate to say it, guys, I've always been a Saber guy. I told you earlier, the Hornet has never resonated with me, and I have a Saber Comet, and I've always loved the ship. I hate to say it, aesthetics have me just as much as the capability does. I think it's a beautiful ship.
I bought one just for the aesthetics alone. I did. It really. That's probably my one regret non-buyback was not getting back my Saber Comet, because I loved that livery. It was so gorgeous looking.
Yeah.
Collection.
Yeah, I'm like you. I actually had melted. I mean, the guys on the show know this, but I melted everything that was less than $300 and said I'd be willing to work for it in game, and that ship fell into that category. And then I was flying around. They always give you the Hornet, right? And I'm flying around this Hornet. I'm like, I'm not digging this Hornet. And I went back and bought it. I broke my rule just because I loved the Comet for a fighter. So that's my ship. Nothing against the Hornet Ghost, because once again, we haven't seen it. I'm looking at this image of it, though. It looks very cool. And I love the fact that out of that Hornet series that they have all these different types of Hornets, and it's not just the one, just the one base Hornet and then the Hornet Super. I love the fact that they have all these variants, and I'm sure people will embrace it, once it comes out and we get that stealth mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
Griff.
Yeah, buddy.
You know what's interesting with the statements that we've made and the statements that chat is adding in there or chiming in on? There's so many layers to this conversation when we're talking about how do we approach this, and it's like, for me, it's my statement is coming from the point of entry level. Maybe what's the Star Citizen thing? I definitely want to do PvP. I love that type of concept of a ship taking out another ship, and you're walking into the game for the first time, and then the layers of the chat are saying, well, based upon this, I don't agree because I know what this ship is about, or I've come to learn what this ship is going to do. So it changes. But when you're talking about all these different layers, there's no right or wrong. It's just the vantage point of what that person has experienced, or just saying, well, this person's going to walk into the game do this when you're first introducing yourself to Star Citizen. Very interesting, though.
It's a good point, Kimmy, because a lot of times when all this stuff started, for those of us who've been around for a little while, there were people who didn't understand, why are there so many ships, right? Why are there so many? But just from our conversation that we're having, just the four of us and chat, everybody has this certain thing that they look for, and they'll swear by, right? I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there who will swear that a Aurora LX is the best fighter out there. You know, I mean, that's that's their thing, right? Yeah. So I mean, but you're right, Kimmy. It is very unique that the game can be very different for different people, and so I'm glad that CIG just didn't limit us to 4 ships, and that's it. Take your pick which one. But not only do you have multiple ships on this list, but you've got so many variations that you can, configurations with components. Certain people will like certain coolers over other coolers. Some people will like certain weapons over other weapons. And that's going to keep the game vibrant for me, at least as far as I'm concerned. I think that's going to be really helpful. All right, our last category, gang. We'll be getting ready to wrap this up. Interdictors. Now, some of you guys may remember that interdictor was a term that was applied to other ships at one point, and then CIG kind of flipped a few ships and put them into this category. So let's talk about which ones that they suggest. They say the Avenger Stalker is an interdictor, the Buccaneer interdictor, Saber Raven interdictor, 325A, Cutlass Blue, Vanguard Sentinel, Avenger Warlock. And some of these ships have kind of specialized things that they do too. So let me go ahead and hit with 10th. I'm going to hit with you this time first. Which one of those is the one in your primary and your secondary that you would grab?
So 325A, definitely. That's a primary go-to for solo play for me in this category.
Wonder
great
why.
Ship. I wonder why. Do I have to explain it to everybody? I can do it. It's not a problem.
I don't think you have to explain
Don't get
it
them
to
started.
anybody.
Don't get them started.
All 50 viewers and the 4 of us understand exactly what you mean.
I want to make sure we're on the same page about it. So you got 325. And I've always been a fan of the Avenger series, the Warlock, the Avenger Warlock, and having the EMP in the back is a cool thing. And the thing was, like, if I were to jump into, I think the Sentinel is the other one with the web.
The E-War, the E-War package. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the E-War package in it. I like how that flies too. So it's a toss-up for me on both of those, Warlock and the Sentinel. If I had to go into this category, I'm thinking about tacklers, right? Which, by the way, so would the Mantis be considered an interdictor?
No, believe it or not, I thought it would be, but they did not drop that in the list, believe it or not.
Oh, that's interesting. Yep. Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
See, Dark Knight gets it, Origin for Life. Like, I don't know what you guys' problem is.
It gives me a headache.
Okay, so I'll just wrap up my portion here. I do the 325 and probably the Sentinel or the Warlock based on if I'm flying with a group or not, as my number 2. Okay. And then the thing that I'll toss out this deal, you got to get this Buccaneer out of here, man. You just got to get it out. It's not doing anything. Really? I'm not a fan. Could it have a place? It's a zippy ship. It's very fast. Mm-hmm. But if you were now, I don't know how is the Buccaneer. If the Buccaneer could be the same speed as the Herald from Drake.
The Buccaneer is pretty fast. Look, and let me do this before, and I don't mean to cut you off.
It's a Mustang.
I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure everybody understands what interdictors are, or what an interdiction is. I'm going to read you guys the definition because everybody has this version of what they think interdicting is. It says, and this is just a general definition that comes up. It says, is a military term for the act of delaying, disrupting, or destroying enemy forces or supplies that are en route to a battle area. So a lot of times, if you guys remember in the game, when you'd be traveling, you get pulled out of quantum. They would call that interdicting. They were interrupting you while you're on your way somewhere. So we want to make sure everybody understands what the purpose of these ships are in relation to interdiction. That's what they're supposed to be. Okay.
It's very specialized, right? Like you're going to get pilots that think about their role differently. if they're flying a ship in this class, right? You're not going to be thinking about, like for me, in the 325, I'm not necessarily again thinking about how am I going to take on another ship toe to toe, right? I'm going to be thinking about how I might skirt around or how I might get myself out of a pinch or something.
Uh-oh, we lost 10th.
Uh-oh.
Something got disconnected?
That's
There he
that's
is.
my boy.
Oh, it's okay.
Give me just a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Kids.
And by the way, someone just dropped another correction in for me, and it was in relation to I'm trying to find out who it was who suggested it. Who was that suggested about the Mantis? You are absolutely right. The Mantis does fall into the category, but not interdiction. They have it down for stealth. So that's 2 ships I missed. That's what I get for rushing. That's what I get for 2 ships
They kind of
rushing.
relabeled it, guys. They
I
call
know.
it the quantum
Mantis?
enforcement ship.
I know
now.
it used to be right.
That's right. It's right, they do.
Yeah,
Quantum
they do.
enforcement.
Well, it's an
They
enforcement
do.
ship.
They call
Yeah.
it. They consider it military stealth now. So that's interesting that it's not an interdictor. And I would have thought that it was an interdictor as well. So again, this is CIG's listing, guys. I know we've used it for interdiction, and the idea for it is that it is an interdictor, and I would agree that it is. But they have it under stealth, which is really weird to me.
Just
That
recently,
is interesting.
I'm just looking at the site.
just recently, this happened to me. I was about to maybe jump into quantum, and then the law enforcement came over my comms, right? Oh, this is the something. This is a enforcement to check your whatever, right? And so I go into external view, and I turn around, and I look, and I see what are the 2 usual ships? They had 3 ships this time, right?
Yeah.
I'm in a Origin 135C, and I look around. I see 2 of the most common ships they use, right? And then I noticed it was the Mantis was there because it had the red glow. And they were like, "Okay, if you think you're gonna do a quantum jump, we're gonna jack you up." And I'm like, "Come on, guys, really? I'm trying to take damn medical supplies, and you're harassing me."
But you know what, Kimmy? It makes perfect sense because before they would pull you out of quantum and stop you, and there really wasn't a ship that could do that was in the group. You know what I mean? Before it'd be these ships, but a Cutlass Black doesn't have a quantum device in it, so it does make sense that maybe they've put that in there now. But that's a good point. Very, very good point. Yeah.
But Kimmy, you were supposed to show your origin card. They just let you ride. When you show your origin card.
Damn.
It's just a thing. I mean,
They didn't scratch the paint.
Right. Okay. Did you throw out anything? I'm sorry, Stint, did you throw out something?
Yeah, that buck is out.
The
of here,
Buccaneer.
man.
Okay, that's right. You said the Buccaneer. Okay, all right. Kimmy, I'll go to you on this one. We'll let Parz wrap us up on this. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I gotta agree. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the buck. And what was the we're talking interdiction, right?
Yeah, right, interdiction. Avenger Stalker, Buccaneer, Saber Raven, 325A,
Raven.
Cutlass Black, Vanguard Sentinel, or the Warlock.
Oh yeah, because the Cuddy Blue has that capability. Now we're talking about. Oh God, that's a tough one, man. It's tough. Because the reason why I have to go with the Cutlass Blue is the fact that the first iteration, which was the Warlock and the Raven, right? That was the first iteration of these interdiction ships. So they're gonna have to go back and balance and redial that up and bring it up to the modern tech. So I would have to go with the Cutlass Blue because if you're gonna stop or interdict someone, get ready for a damn fight. Because they're going to be pissed, whether it's the NPC or actual person. So I would have to go with Cutlass Blue because it's armed to the teeth. It has the capabilities to really shut things down. And I think they've learned from what they did with the Anvil Hawk as far as that being in that category of interdicting or going after a mark or a target. That you're able to engage the enemy if you're telling them, hey, I got a contract to bring you in, and then they decide screw you, and then you can take them out. You have that capability definitely with the Cutlass Blue, and the fact that the interdiction tech is dialed up and it's straight on, it's on point right now.
Right. Thank you, Pure Falcon. You're right. We were talking about that, remembering when they distinguish interdiction versus interceptors. Thank you, because 325 was listed as an interceptor previously, so thank you for mentioning that. Kimmy, which one would you throw out of that list there?
I'm going with 10th, man. He dialed it in perfectly. It's the buck.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right, Parz, it's on you. Which one are you favoring here?
Well, I think Kimmy kind of nailed it only because the two ships that I was going to choose are only because I don't own the Cuddy Blue and because the two reasons alone that he chose, which was its interdictability and its firepower. Mm-hmm. And because I own a Raven because I have an Octane drive, mm-hmm. I use it because it's there. So mm-hmm. I became proficient with the Raven in its early iteration for the interdictor, and it worked great. I loved it, and I would always have a partner with me because I could never be alone. Mm-hmm. And I would usually, if I could, it would be a Sentinel or a Warlock. Mm-hmm. So and I would maintain the distance after the pop, let my buddy go in and finish him off with the missiles. And so it's great that the blue does still function that way. And but I think after a rework, the Raven I'm hoping it might have a little bit more pop than the blue, because it's primarily it's purpose driven to be the interdictor as a Cuddy Blue. It's more an interdictor and also a law enforcement vehicle. So it's not meant to, it's meant to just stop particular things, and laws will only limit you so much. But the Saber Raven doesn't have to follow any sort of laws. So in my mindset, so they can let, the manufacturing company can sit there and let them be a little bit more free and have them have those bigger, interdicting capabilities than the law enforcement variants would. So that's my opinion, and that's why my hope is with the rework, we'll see a minutia of an improvement for that. But yeah, my initial mind was to go right to the Raven and a Sentinel, because that was a combo punch for me, and I would love taking and doing some hunting with some bounty hunting work with that, because it's quick. You can pop in really quick with that Raven because it's very, very maneuverable. Get your target quick, and that's why I use the missiles, because you have that distance that you can have, and you have those missiles that'll close the distance quick. So then you pair it that way. So you go in for the quick pop because he's vulnerable now, and then you let the missiles destroy him really quickly. And if you time it right, you can have the missiles already in transit before you're able to pop your interdictor, whatever it is, and so you'd see the shield drop, and then it would just fall. The missiles would still be just out of pulse range, and then they would go right in and hit the target. So again, those are just combos that I've used over the years. But now, knowing that the blue's out there, again, I don't own it, but that would be my go-to at that point would be to take a blue out there if it's capable of doing both things at once. Now imagine doubling that up, and now you can get twice as much bounty or twice as much loot in the time it takes to do it for once. So
okay,
you know what, Parz?
Sniffy Joe Bob,
Sure.
thank you for the follow.
That's you make a great point with that. This is the way. We got to crew up for sure.
Right on point. Now I'm gonna throw. Oh, which ship are you throwing out, Parz?
I'd be a buck.
The buck. Okay.
Yeah, the buck.
I'm going to say this. Wait. Nyla said something here. He said the buck is a pest that can kill you. That can kill you. And many of you guys, I've had this happen where you get a buccaneer that's on you for some reason, and you spend 20 freaking minutes trying to nail that thing because it moves around so quickly and it's hard to target. The thing that a lot of people talk about with the buccaneer is that it feels like it's a bit of a glass cannon. There's a little bit of worry about if you take out a wing or an engine, you take out all your guns as well, so people don't like that aspect of it. But I will say this, in relation to interdiction, as a singular ship, nah. But imagine 8 of these suckers coming off of a Drake, what's the big ship? The Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
The Kraken.
Yeah, release that Kraken.
And those things are hitting you, man. Whatever you're doing, you got to stop doing it because they'll pound on you and wear your butt out. So that it's not my ship, but when we throw it out, I think it's because we're looking at the singular aspect. Yeah. So
what the hell?
I'm like,
pound that shit and get that shit out. God, that's specific.
Is that a solar flare?
Veyota.
A solar flare.
It's gonna be a Veyota in there, man.
Parz, I'm gonna go with you. Saber Raven, because it's free. I didn't pay for it. I paid for a drive. So I'm just teasing.
Okay, with Octane, I'll take it.
No, but I love the Saber Raven. And I agree with you that they've got to go back and rework it, though. It needs to be the powerful ship for interdiction when it comes to that. So if they do that, then yeah, it steps up into the class. The Cuddy Blue, I put second only because of its versatility. It has the not just the interdiction for stopping, but it has the thing to keep you from jumping. It's got tons of missiles on it. You've got the bounty hunting aspect of it, which is great. So it's got a lot to it. And of course, I'm sure you can probably gun it up even more than what it is. And some of you guys will remember that when we first got interdiction or quantum blocking in the game, how the Avenger Warlock was a pain in the butt because you were flying over some moon, looking at the the landscape, and all of a sudden your power just went out. And guys would just watch you plow into the surface of the moon, which was people did that so much back in the day. But anyway, that's it on those ships. So we've covered everything, guys, today in relation to the things that we liked. Let me wrap it up with getting very quickly from everybody. If there was one ship, one fighter, that is your go-to fighter off of these entire 6 categories: snub, light, medium, heavy, stealth fighter, and interdictor. And chat, please feel free to chime in as well. What's your one go-to fighter that we have on the list? Let's start with 10th.
Warden.
The Warden. Okay. Kimmy.
Warden.
Wow. 2 for the Warden. Wow. Okay.
No, not 2, brother. 3 for the Warden. 3 for the Warden. Not 2, man.
Okay. It looks like the Warden is overwhelmingly
Griff,
run. I'm still going to hang with my Saber. I still like my Saber. The Warden is beautiful. No, the Warden is beautiful. It really is. The weird thing, you know what, Kimmy? I don't own any heavy fighters, and I probably not heavy fighters, medium fighters. Other than that, no, it's a heavy fighter. And the one I wanted was the Harbinger. But that gets into bombers, right? Yeah. But I didn't, and I was ready to buy it, Kimmy. You know what made me stop? They cut that 4th torpedo out. And they reduced it, and I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That is the most expensive of all of the Warden ships, and it was supposed to have 4 size 5s or size 6s in it, and they cut it out. And this is what I said they should do. They should get rid of that bed on the opposite side, and they should put 3 on one side and 3 on the other. If they put 6 in that sucker, then to me it's worth it because it's medium range or long range, whatever it is, but it needs to have more than 3 torpedoes in it. To me it's not worth making a long range run with only 3 torpedoes. So that got me mad about that ship. So
what ship was it? I'm sorry. What are we talking about?
The Harbinger. The Vanguard Harbinger. Yeah. But that was the only heavy ship that I was really kind of interested in, was that one. But everybody got to share some really great thoughts here in relation to the different ships in the game. And thank you guys for hanging in there with us and all the information that you guys gave us in chat today. Let's close out. Let's start with Kimmy. Kimmy, where can people find you, see you? Tell them.
Okay, I want to say this real quick to round this out, to bring it full circle. At the start of the show, it was kind of like a joke analogy of the comparing of the new Aurora LN to the old gritty veteran LN. With that said, with fighting and PvP type ships, one aspect is getting that ship based on you playing PvP and its different strengths. But the other aspect, when I said, what did the old veteran Aurora said to the new one, it says, you're off the showroom floor, you're brand new, but I got guts. With that said, it's about customizing those components and adding in those other functionalities to your ship that you say is your ship. So you actually get an extra punch or extra value in your ability to do PvP based on how you customize it eventually down the road. But yeah, you'll catch me on Kimmy65 on Twitch, just like the name below me. You'll find me on Twitch, and I'm there, man. I'm chilling. Music, gameplay, talk about the game. It's my passion. So come on in. Let's hang out.
Awesome. 10th, where can people find you?
Not streaming so much anymore, but you'll find me on Soul Citizens, Channel 27 News here with Parz. And when I'm not there, in the Vector 27 Discord, clowning around, talking about the game, and having a great community. So that's where I'm at.
And these guys are, just so you know, Vector 27 guys are up usually. If you guys are like late night people, because a lot of them are on the West Coast, they're a great group to catch up with, and they do stuff on, was it Wednesday nights you guys were doing stuff? And was it First Fridays? You guys were doing
First
stuff?
Fridays, Wednesday nights, Tuesday show. There's something going on.
Yeah, there's something going on. We post usually every Monday.
I'm fiending for my Channel 27 news, man. Come on. Come on,
back.
stop
Don't
it.
worry,
You're torturing me.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. We have no desire to leave the show. Everybody wants so much to be a part of the show. We love it, but we have to do it at the volunteer time.
Gotcha. All right, and Parz, real quick,
Sure.
everybody where they can find you again?
You can find me at Twitch at Parz7val. I've been a little AWOL for a little bit, but I am coming back starting next week, and we're gonna be really excited to start going back to some Star Citizen again. And then I do want to say, and I'm also on Twitter, same handle, but I do want to say thank you guys for having me on. It's I've watched you guys for a while, and it's a pleasure to finally be able to say I made it. So I really appreciate you guys bringing me on here, and nothing but the respect for all three of you. So thank you very much.
Well, man, we appreciate having you. Give all the folks over at Vector 27 our love. Thanks for representing them in the highest way possible. We appreciate you being here. And thank all you guys for being here tonight. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. When you go on there, make sure you guys make sure you say a comment, whether you like it, don't like it. Help us out. We'd love to hear from you guys. And of course, we always appreciate the support you guys give us every week. Last but not least, thank you for all the people who followed tonight, all the people that subscribed tonight. And don't forget our second show, Friday Night Live, which is our live talk show where you get to come on and talk with us. You don't just get to sit and listen to us, but you get to come onto the channel and share your thoughts about Star Citizen, what you don't like, what you do like, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think I got it all out. And Fastcard says, don't forget to buy our merchandise. We have merchandise too, guys. We see it on the page. If you guys want to get a shirt, or you want to get a mug, or you want to get a hat, all that stuff is out there. So we appreciate you guys. You guys take care of yourself. Be safe. And we are going to raid I Am Riles. I Am Riles. So you all make sure y'all give him a shout.
Oh, this guy is incredible.
And yeah, give him a shout. Tell him, hey, what's up? Hang out. Follow him. Send them some love. And as always, we want to tell you guys, peace.
Hey, and Griff.
Yeah, buddy.
Don't forget to vote, citizens. If you're citizens,
don't forget. Yeah, you got to vote. Yeah, don't forget
Addison,
about the
all
election.
the way, baby.
Don't forget, we've got the elections going on in the universe. So make sure you guys throw in your vote. Okay. Once again, you guys take care of yourselves. Peace, love, and soul. We are out of here.